Hi, everyone. Delfino Aguilar here, your host of Del Talk, powered by Kind Lending. I'm really excited to bring you our second episode of Del Talk with Mr. Dave Stevens. We talk a little bit about the MBA. We talk about the direction of the new Biden administration and the broker's right for choice of who they work with. I hope you enjoy this episode. Have a great day. You know, the new administration it might take a different direction when it comes to policies and directives, right? Like Biden already started a bill, $15,000 credit for first-time home buyers. What are your thoughts on just the direction of this administration and their policies?
Yeah, I think you need to look at the politics in kind of this context.
Yeah.
Republican leadership is generally better for our industry in the sense that they're not going to be overly intrusive on the regulatory front.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, the Republican administrations generally are not overly supportive of incentives to stimulate housing.
Right.
In the Biden regime, what you have is the opposite. You're going to see more signs of regulatory intrusion. You're hearing that already out of the CFPB. They're making warnings to servicers about how they treat people coming out of the pandemic. They've delayed the implementation of the final QM rule, which is could create some confusion over time here. But it's also, there's a lot of stimulus that you should expect to see in the infrastructure package that includes down payment assistance, potentially. Now, that DPA, there isn't legislation yet for the first-time home buyer credit. There's a down payment assistance bill that's being worked on in the House Financial Services Committee. There is a tax credit bill that has been introduced in Ways and Means, but I don't think it's going to make its way ultimately into the channel that will get self-legislated. And then there's a bill being worked on in the Senate Banking Committee as well related to housing. So there's a lot of activity focused on particularly trying to help, to put it, very succinctly, to help change the paradigm of these low 40% home ownership rates for African Americans, high 40% home ownership rates for Hispanics in America, compared to 74% home ownership rates for white non-Hispanics. We've really got to change that paradigm. And I know the Biden regime is really focused on that. And then the question is, what can get done? We heard the State of the Union that the president gave, and you saw the response from the Republican leadership. There's a tough fight ahead here on any stimulus effort. The good news is that this administration wants to help support home ownership, and they've got things in process to try to do that. The question is, can they get it ultimately through the sausage making machine that is called Washington, D.C.
That's right. Yeah, it was interesting to see some of the media kind of commentary after that last night, all kinds of different commentary on that. And, speaking of which, yesterday, I have my notes here on this too, because we were talking about it here as a company. FHFA came out with a new program to help people that didn't take advantage of the refis yesterday. It's, max of $500 credit on appraisals. A cost of appraisals of $500, the new refi now option, so we'll see what that happens. It just rolled out yesterday. You probably heard about it. Any thoughts around that? You think that's going to be a good, somewhat of a help for those borrowers?
I think the challenge with FHFA in general is because of the risk-based pricing structure and loan level price adjusters, the trade away where FHA becomes better execution for a borrower can be somewhere around a 720 FICO. And minority borrowers, first-time home buyers, folks that are below certain AMI levels tend to also have lower FICO scores. Not because they're bad credit. They may be underbanked. They may not have a long credit history, any variety of factors, but it makes it more challenging. So even though FHFA may put some structure there, I'm not sure in the end of the day it'll be enough to have enormous impact. We'll see. And I'm sure all of you at your company and others will figure that out.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out for sure. We're excited. I think just the fact that there's some sort of help out there, we'll see how it turns out. But like you said, it has to go through the machine to get it done. It has to go through that machine. So transition a little bit. Over earlier this year, a couple of competitors, as you know, went at it a little bit, right? I think you wrote an article about an ultimatum that was out there back in March. Glenn Stearns has been pretty vocal of brokers should have a choice.
Yeah.
About that. We've been pretty local about that. It's free markets. You wrote about that, and we support that. Tell us a little bit about what have you changed your mind since then, or have things developed? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Our Matt Ishbia gave me a call on a Sunday after my article was out, trying to relax, and he wants to talk through his view. Right. I told him the same thing I've told everybody, and I've been consistent, is that I thought that I thought that was bad behavior. I think it violates the whole concept of the mortgage broker, the value proposition of a mortgage broker. And by the way, you're probably aware, I hope everybody is, that there's been a class action suit filed against UWM that states exactly this point I'm about to make, that the value proposition of a broker is that they provide a borrower with a choice from a variety of lending resources. And so to shut that off, to have an agreement that says, I can't offer you a mortgage from X, Y, or Z company if you're going to do business with me, it creates an exclusion. I even raised the question as to whether, if you're going to do that, should you disclose that? Should you have to have an upfront disclosure that says, hey, by the way, I do business with UWM, so even if Quicken or Fairway have better rates, I can't offer them. Glenn is a great example, because Glenn is an amazing leader in our industry. He built this massive company called Stearns. He's building another one now. He's been in Matt's shoes and had great success, but never had to get into the mud and make this all about a war with your competitors in the industry. We compete based on our sales skills, our service capabilities, our technology, our product differentiation, marketing, and more. And that's how every company in America competes. What if, UPS said, you can do business with me, but not if you use FedEx? I mean, the whole approach here, I thought, was really surprising. And I've spoken to some brokers. I spoke to one yesterday who actually is in San Diego. And he told me he's UWM. I said, did you sign the agreement? He goes, no, I didn't sign the agreement. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. But at the end of the day, look, I think it's bad behavior. I think, what makes our industry better for the American consumer is competition. And that we have all sorts of business models. And frankly, I love the broker value proposition, but the moment they start excluding sources, just be careful. Imagine being loyal to Countrywide only, a couple weeks before it failed. UWM's not about to fail, but we've seen the top 10 lenders in America already shift over the last decade, and they will shift again. And so you never burn a bridge. You want to keep as many relationships open as possible, because you never know who's going to provide that kind of product, sales skills, technology, operations, and more to help you make it, as a broker, be as successful as possible. And that, I guarantee, no one owns market share in our business. They only rent it for a while. And so in this game, I think I think it was just bad for them.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of, as we know, we travel the country now, we're traveling now, and every broker has an opinion on it, and it's a very hard line. There's no like in between. They're from the camp of either nobody tells me how to run my business to I'm in full support. Right. But I think one of the things that makes a broker special and unique is that choice, and so we'll see how this plans out. We're all about choice, David. Thank you for that commentary. We support it. Glenn supports that as well, loudly too. So we're in full support of that. So let's talk a little bit about briefly about the MBA.
Yeah.
You're a CMB grad, obviously, right? There's that whole program. I love it. I went through the Future Leaders program a couple of years ago. It's awesome. You spent some time there. Why, if I'm a broker that's not involved with the MBA, why should I be? Why should I participate in it?
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, it's about getting policy right for our industry. The MBA is an amazing resource. So I run a little consulting business. I joined just as an individual, which you can do as a broker. But there's a couple of things. The Mortgage Action Alliance, MA, is a separate organization that's managed by MBA, but doesn't cost anybody a nickel to join. You join for free, but it keeps you aware. If there's something bad happening in Congress and we need a call to action and we need everybody who cares contacting the members of Congress, MA's the way to do it. It's automated. It's an app on your phone. You get a notification. You hit a button. You don't have to write anything. It's already pre-populated. I mean, it works incredibly well. But beyond that, I do a lot of public speaking. I do calls with large, massive groups of people in our industry. Had 100,000 real estate agents, believe it or not, on a call several months ago. Awesome. I get a lot of great data from the MBA. Their research department's incredible. If I want to know what's happening with policy, so the QM rule's not being implemented, is that a big deal? What does it mean? I use them as a resource. I ran the MBA for almost a decade or 3/4 of a decade. And I found it a great resource. Will I always agree with them? No, I'm not going to always agree with any trade association. But I think it's about me being better. If I was still originating, I want to have every piece of information I can get, because information is power, and the MBA is a resource for that.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was at one of their conferences 2 years ago back in Austin. It's just powerful. A lot of people that were there. It's awesome. We want all of our brokers and our AEs to be involved with that. We think it's a great organization. So thank you for sharing that. So David, we've taken a lot of your time. So thank you for this information, man. It's been great. I got one question for you, because as we talk about morning routines here a lot at Kind Lending, we talk about, how do you prepare for your day? What do you do? If you talk to anybody successful, they have some sort of routine. I don't care if it's walking their dog at a certain time or drinking a cup of coffee or whatever they do in the morning, right? Do you have a morning routine? Do you stick to something religiously every morning, or are you ready to roll as soon as you wake up?
Yeah, so I do a lot of planning, because like this morning, the Urban Institute in Washington was going through what they call their chart book. It's a quarterly book that releases all sorts of market data, and I was their guest speaker. So over the last couple of days, I read the chart book. I made a series of notes online with my pen, with my iPad. And then this morning, I got up at 6:30, had a cup of coffee, reviewed everything I'd written down. I made handwritten notes of how I want to run it, and I was ready for the call. I always look at the schedule. I'm a Peloton rider. I ride my Peloton daily, and that's health is part of success, I think. But yeah, the other thing I'll tell you is every morning it's news review, right? I'm not going to name all the newspapers I read, but I read just a whole bunch of them online that I have subscriptions with, starting with the Wall Street Journal, and going through the New York Times, and so I read what's going on. I go to Market Watch. I look at overnight markets and how they operated. I try to think about what the 10-year is going to do that day. And we all do those kinds of things, but starting with a plan is
starting with the plan. It is. That's funny you say that. I have a Peloton. You can't see it, but it's right here. I don't want to move my camera. I ride that every day too. So it is. What's
your handle?
Papa Aguilar.
Papa Aguilar.
Hey, Papa Aguilar. I gotta follow you too. Yeah. So I put it out there, Papa Aguilar. Everyone can see it. But it's right here. You can hear it. The screen's right here. Very cool. Think that part is to clear your head, get ready for the day. I think the Peloton is very, very, very good for you. So that's awesome to do. I do it every day. You got the different kind of classes. I think it's awesome. But David, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for you do for our industry. We love reading your articles. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All the information. Definitely want to keep in touch. So thank you guys for watching our newest edition of Del Talk. You can follow Dave Stevens on LinkedIn. You have Instagram as well and Facebook, but you're really active on LinkedIn.
And Twitter.
As you mentioned.
Yes.
And Twitter. You're back on Twitter now, right? So so we're excited. So thank you everyone for watching. And if you have any more questions about Kind Lending, you can visit us at kindlending.com. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Thank you, David. We really appreciate your time.
Good to be with you, Del.